News coming out today, July 27th, 2025. As take a look at the latest headlines with me. We're hearing Iran's Africa activities pose significant threats to U.S. national security. The State Department joins Senate Foreign Relations Chairman in raising the alarm over Tehran's uranium purchases and drone supplies. Iran is bypassing the activities that it has and they're saying they believe purchasing enough for 30 nuclear warheads from Niger that they could use against the United States and Israel. I'm going to get you all the details. Take a look at more headlines coming out. Trump says the U.S., they will not allow Iran's uranium enrichment, as they're saying this is a significant nuclear threat. Now, Iran reaffirms its right to enrich uranium ahead of key talks with Turkey. Now, this came out a couple of days ago. We're hearing that European conversation took place. I'm going to give you all the details on it, as Iran will hold nuclear talks with Europe as Trump threatens renewed strikes against Iran if they move forward with their uranium enrichment. You can see this article coming out 2 days ago, and this article coming out 2 days ago as well. Afterwards, Europeans meet with Iranian officials face to face for the first time since Israel-U.S. bombings as sanctions loom. And take a look at this. Donald Trump warns that the U.S. could strike Iran's nuclear sites again if necessary. Coming out 5 hours ago, Trump says Iran is stupid to insist on uranium enrichment after the U.S. strikes that took place. And also, take a look at this. Coming out 27 minutes ago from the time of this recording, European Union and U.S. agree trade deal with 15% tariffs for European exports to America. Wow, there is a lot going on right now. We are hearing that there are significant threats coming out. I'm going to give you the details of this, of the uranium enrichment nuclear warheads coming out regarding Iran against the United States. They are still pushing forward, saying they do not care about what Donald Trump has to say. Trump saying, I will strike you again. Simultaneously, we're hearing there are deals that are being reached between the United States and Europe. A lot taking place. And if you like the way that Donald Trump is handling everything that's going on, do me a favor, drop a 47 in the comments for support for the handling by current President Donald Trump. Also, hit that like button if you appreciate the breaking news updates coming out, as we're hearing that this is a significant alert, a threat, as they're saying that Iran is going to be able to bypass a lot of the stuff that's going on and actually just buy uranium that could be enriched for nuclear warheads from Niger. I'm going to get you all the details. Now, also, to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. And as always, here on the channel, I'm going to be referencing all of the articles. They're going to be hyperlinked in the description. I cite everything like a book report, put it on the screen, read right from it so you can see the dates and the sources, and you can know and rest assured that this is the latest. And again, if you appreciate that, hit that like button with me. Let's go ahead and dive into the articles so you can see it for yourself. Now, first off, this coming out today, a couple of hours ago, Iran's Africa activities pose significant threats to U.S. national security. Now, let me know your thoughts on this. Donald Trump has been trying to be very diplomatic with Iran. We've actually heard Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel saying, let's just go ahead and strike all their nuclear facilities, wipe them out and their capabilities. Donald Trump said, no, let's hold off. Let's try to see if we can work things out with them. Let's continue these talks. Do you think that that is the right way to go? Do you think that they should try to work this out diplomatically, peacefully? If so, put peace in the comments. If you think no, we should just strike them hard, take away that existential threat of potential nuclear weapons from Iran, put war in the comments. War or peace? What direction should Donald Trump and the United States take with Iran? Let me know your thoughts, but we're hearing that they're saying that they will not stop. And we actually I shared with you that interview with Abbas Araghchi, the foreign minister for Iran, as he met with Fox News. And he said that they have a right to do this and that they're going to continue to do so. Now, let's take a look at this article so that way you can see it for yourself here. Now, this article says that the State Department and the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee have joined a chorus of analysts this week in warning Fox News Digital of significant threats to U.S. national security from the actions of Iran in Africa. Now, Tehran is accused of reportedly buying uranium in Niger, supplying drones in a violation of a UN arms embargo to force in Sudan and promoting the growth of the destabilizing Islamic fundamentalism and terrorism on the continent. Iran's long arm of terror stretches around the globe, including in Africa. Senate Foreign Relations Chairman Senator Jim Risch from Idaho told Fox News Digital, adding, Iran is an enemy to freedom everywhere and a threat to the United States' national security. Our partners in Africa must proceed with caution before engaging with this dangerous authoritarian regime. Now, reports resurfaced initially last year from first the French media outlet Africa Intelligence and then the Washington-based NGO, the Institute for Science and International Security, that the West African nation of Niger had been negotiating the sale to Tehran of $56 million worth of so-called yellow cake uranium oxide, the 300 tons of uranium, some of which one source suggests has been partly delivered already and would allegedly be enough to make 30 nuclear weapons. So we had heard before that they had enough at 60% that if they pushed it to the 90% would allow them to have maybe 9, 10, 11, 12 nuclear warheads at their disposal. Now they're saying that they are making a side deal here with the nation of Niger to go ahead and purchase 300 tons of uranium, which could equate to enough to make 30 nuclear weapons. Now, analysts say Niger could be preparing to sell even more yellow cake to Iran. Uranium in the country has, up until recently, been mined from mostly French companies, such as Orano. But Niger's military leaders, who came to power in a coup in 2023, announced that they will revoke mining licenses and nationalize mining operations. Iran is said to want to strike a deal to start uranium mining itself in Niger, particularly around Imororen, an area where the ground is estimated to contain 200,000 tons of metal. Now, in a move seen to be towards Russia and Iran, Niger ended an agreement with the Biden administration last year, which led to the closing of 2 U.S. military bases in the country that were used for anti-terror operations. Now, in Niger, French outlets covering the continent have reported that there is a secret agreement between Iran and Niger trading uranium oxide for either drones or energy. Benan Ben Talblou told Fox News Digital. Talblou, senior director of the Iran program at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, added, the Islamic Republic is an opportunistic actor, both in the Middle East and further abroad. Now, a State Department spokesperson confirmed to Fox News Digital that Iran's activities in Africa are on their radar, saying, on Niger, we are monitoring the possibility of an Iranian acquisition of uranium. We would have serious concerns about Niger or any country transferring uranium to Iran. The spokesperson continued, Iran's continued development of its nuclear program and its role as the leading state sponsor of terrorism and destabilizing regional behavior pose significant threats to U.S. national security and to global stability. The president has been clear, Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. So there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We are hearing that Iran is bypassing a lot of this, and we had heard this warning from Russia. Russia had come out and said, listen, there are nations that are lining up to help supply uranium to Iran, and they said that they are one of them potentially, but here is another one that we're hearing is underway right now, and that is Niger. Now, in addition to that, take a look at this. Trump says the U.S. will not allow Iran to enrich uranium. This article says the United States President Donald Trump on Sunday, today, issued a stark warning to Iran over its nuclear ambitions, saying Tehran is stupid to continue uranium enrichment after having been beaten up so very badly in recent American airstrikes. During a meeting in Scotland with European Commissioner President Ursula von der Leyen, Trump said his administration is not going to allow that to happen. The leader similarly warned that the Middle Eastern country last week after he reiterated Iran's nuclear sites were destroyed in the June bombing. So, man, let me know if you agree with Donald Trump. Do you think that Iran is stupid for continuing this on, not backing down? If so, drop a 47 in the comments Also, hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. I see we got about 1,600 people with me live. If we could get half the room to hit the like button, that would be 800 likes. If you haven't done so yet, and you see that it's not at 800, please take a second. That would help out a ton. That little gesture would help out a lot. Now, in addition to that, as I mentioned, we're hearing that Iran is reaffirming that it has the right to enrich uranium ahead of its key talks with Turkey, saying they're not going to be bullied by the United States or told what to do. Iran to hold nuclear talks with Europeans as Trump threatens renewed strikes, saying if you continue this, if you do not back down, we might strike you again, happily. Donald Trump being very aggressive with the nation of Iran. Now, let's take a look at this as we're hearing that this did unfold Friday. Europeans meet with Iranian officials face-to-face for the first time since Israel, U.S. bombing, as sanctions loom. So let's take a look at what has unfolded with these meetings between Europe and Iran. In May, the IAEA reported an alarming increase in Iran's near-weapons-grade uranium. And just to clarify, what we're hearing is that they have enriched enough uranium to get potentially, as I said, 9 to a dozen nuclear warheads if they took it from the 60% to the 90%. And they said that that's a little bit deceiving, saying 60 to 90. Really what it is about 1 or 2 weeks worth of enrichment to get it from that point of 60 to 90. So they are right on the cusp of potentially having nuclear weapons. And now we're hearing that they are purchasing more uranium from Niger. And this is a major security alert for the United States. European diplomats met with Iranians on Friday, face-to-face, for the first time since Israel and the U.S. bombed the country last month. The serious, frank, and detailed meeting in Istanbul, Turkey, lasted for around 4 hours, and the officials all agreed to meet again for continued negotiations on Iran's nuclear program. So what we're seeing is a whole lot of talks going on, not a whole lot of development as to some sort of an agreement regarding the nuclear program of Iran. Sanctions that were lifted on Iran in 2015 after it agreed to restrictions and monitoring of its nuclear program could be reimposed if Iran doesn't comply with requirements. One of Europe's E3 nations, Britain, France, and Germany, who held the talks with Iran, could bring back sanctions under the snapback mechanism, which allows one of the European countries to bring back UN sanctions if Iran violates the conditions. Now, European leaders have also said that sanctions will start being reinstated by the end of August if there is no progress on reining in Iran's nuclear program. A possible delay in triggering snapbacks has been floated to the Iranians on the condition that there is credible diplomatic engagement by Iran, that they resume full cooperation with the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, and that they address concerns about their highly enriched uranium stockpile, a European diplomat said on conditions of anonymity before the talks on Friday. The diplomat added that the snapback mechanism remains on the table. Now, Iran said that the U.S. needs to rejoin the 2015 nuclear deal after President Donald Trump pulled America out of it in 2018, saying Iran has absolutely no trust in the United States. The U.S. bombed Iran's nuclear sites on June 22nd, a little over a week after Israel had bombed the country over national security concerns about its nuclear program. Iran responded by attacking Israel and U.S. Army bases in a U.S. Army base in Qatar. Israel and Iran agreed to a ceasefire on June 24th. So there you have it. We are hearing that there are talks that are taking place, but not a whole lot of development at this time regarding some sort of an agreement. Now, in addition to that, we are hearing that Donald Trump has warned that he will strike them again, and he also has said that they are stupid for trying to go this route. And let me know if you agree. If you think Iran is stupid, put yes. If you think Iran is not stupid and that they are playing a very strategic game here of chess, put no. Let me know your thoughts. Now, one of the major concerns that we had heard for quite some time was that Iran is saying they've vowed that there will be retaliation, strikes back. However, they said that the time frame, they will figure out when and where they decide that they want to strike back and hit the United States for hitting us. Now, they already hit that U.S. base in Qatar, but there's also been major concerns about other U.S. military assets in the Middle East and also sleeper cell attacks happening here on U.S. soil, which we're hearing that they're proxy groups, various terrorist actors, are all over the world, and that there are many planted in U.S. cities right here waiting for the go-ahead to start attacks. And a lot of people are concerned that this might actually be coordinated with other nations. We've heard warnings about China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, a lot of conflicts taking place. And what if things begin to pop off simultaneously, and at the same time, there are sleeper cells that are activated in the United States as well? These are some of the major concerns right now as to what potentially could happen. Yet I'm seeing a lot of people putting yes in the comments, saying Iran is stupid for continuing to threaten and move forward with their uranium enrichment. Now let's take a look at some more of the articles that have just recently come out on this so you can see it for yourself. This coming out from Euro News. Donald Trump warns that the U.S. could strike Iran's nuclear sites again if necessary. Now it says, we will do it again if necessary. U.S. President Donald Trump warned after Iran's foreign minister said 3 nuclear facilities had been badly damaged in strikes in June. Now it says, President Donald Trump has warned that the United States could strike Iran's nuclear sites again if necessary. Trump issued the warning in a social media post on Monday evening after Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi told Fox News that Tehran cannot give up its nuclear enrichment program, even though it was damaged in the U.S. bombing last month. And I shared with you that actual video footage when it came out, that foreign minister Abbas Araghchi coming out and saying that Iran doesn't shout death to America and Israel, and that if the proxy groups do it, they can say what they want, but the term doesn't even mean death to the people of America, but death to the policies and the government of America. Let me know if you're buying it. We also saw him saying that they will not give up their ability to enrich uranium, that it is a matter of national pride. They will continue to do so. They also denied the fact that there are any potential assassination attempts or threats against President Donald Trump at this time. So let me know your thoughts. If you saw the coverage, did you buy it? Did you believe a lot of what he said, or did you think he was full of lies? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, reading on, it says, it is stopped because, yes, damages are serious and severe, but obviously we cannot give up on enrichment because it is an achievement of our own scientists. And now, more than that, it is a question of national pride, Araghchi said. Now, on his Truth Social platform, Trump referenced Araghchi's comments about the nuclear sites being severely damaged and said, of course they are, just like I said, and we will do it again if necessary. The U.S. strikes on the 22nd of June hit 3 Iranian nuclear enrichment sites, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan, during Israel's 12-day conflict with Iran. Days after a U.S.-brokered ceasefire was announced, Trump claimed that Washington's strikes had completely and fully obliterated Iran's nuclear sites. However, Trump's claims was called into question when a subsequent U.S. intelligence report found that Iran's nuclear program had only been set back by a few months. The White House firmly pushed back on the assessment, calling it flat out wrong. Trump's social media posts followed an announcement by Iran on Monday that it would hold renewed talks on Friday with European nations over its nuclear program. Now, the meeting in Istanbul will be the first since the Israeli-Iran ceasefire was reached late last month and follows similar discussions in the Turkish city in May. Now, the talks will bring Iranian officials together with counterparts from the United Kingdom, France, and Germany, known as the E3 nations, and the European Union's foreign policy chief. The topic of the talks is clear: lifting sanctions and issues related to the peaceful nuclear program of Iran. Iranian Foreign Minister spokesperson Ismail Baghaei said on Monday, under a 2015 deal designed to limit Iran's nuclear activities, known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or the JCPOA, Tehran's agreed to tough restrictions on its nuclear program in exchange for an easing of international sanctions. Now, the deal began to unravel back in 2018 when the U.S. had pulled out and started to reintroduce certain sanctions. European nations have recently threatened to trigger the 2015 deal's snapback mechanism, which would allow sanctions to be reimposed in the case of non-compliance of Tehran. Now, Iran has gradually increased its nuclear activities, including enriching uranium up to 60%, a short technical step away from a weapons grade level of 90%, according to the International Atomic Energy Agency, or the IAEA, the UN's nuclear watchdog. Tehran denies allegations that it is seeking a nuclear weapon and has long said its nuclear program is for civilian purposes only. And again, let me know your thoughts on this. We heard this from Abbas Araghchi, but as you're seeing in the article, and as I mentioned to you before, 60% to 90% is just one step away from having weapons-grade enriched uranium, and they're saying this is not necessary to have nuclear energy. They only need to be around like 3 or 5%, if I remember correctly. So they're saying this is way, way more enriching that is needed, but they are claiming that they don't need this for a nuclear warhead, that it's simply because they want to go ahead and do this for national pride for their scientists. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Man, let's go ahead, though, and take a look at this coming out just 5 hours ago as well. This actually coming out from an Iranian international news report. Trump says Iran is stupid to insist on uranium enrichment after U.S. strikes. Let's take a look at some international news here. U.S. President Donald Trump on Sunday today expressed surprise at Tehran's continued insistence on uranium enrichment despite last month's American airstrikes on its nuclear facilities, vowing to block any attempt by Iran to maintain the program. Iran has been very nasty with their words, with their mouth. They got the hell knocked out of them, and I don't think they know it. I actually don't think they know, Trump told reporters on the sidelines of his meeting with the president of the European Commission. The whole thing's a con job. We have a lot of con jobs going on, but Iran was beaten up very badly for a good reason. We cannot have them have a nuclear weapon, he added. On June 22nd, Trump ordered airstrikes against Iran's nuclear sites in Fordow, Isfahan, and Natanz, capping off a surprise military campaign by Israel, which killed hundreds of people, including military personnel, nuclear scientists, and civilians. The 12-day Israeli war on Iran was launched following the 60-day deadline set by Trump for Iran to reach a deal with the West over its disputed nuclear program. Uranium enrichment was one of the U.S. conditions for the possible deal, but Iran has long been insisting on maintaining its enrichment program, even in the aftermath of last month's conflict. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi told Fox News earlier this week that the country will not abandon its uranium enrichment program, calling it both a scientific achievement and a matter of national pride. Our enrichment is so dear to us, he said. Obviously, we cannot give up our enrichment because it is an achievement of our scientists, and now more than that, it is a question of national pride. Trump on Sunday expressed surprise at Iran's insistence of enrichment after what Araghchi said, serious and severe damage to its nuclear infrastructure. They still talk about enrichment. I mean, who would do that? You just come out of something that's so bad, and they talk about, we want to continue enrichment. Who would say that? How stupid can you be to say that? Trump vowed that his administration is not going to allow that to happen. And if you like the sound of that, drop a 47 in the comments for Donald Trump. If you appreciate that he will not allow this to happen, and you think that there is a serious threat of Iran having nuclear warheads potentially, drop those 47s. And if you haven't done so yet, take a second, hit that like button. I see we got 1,700 people live with me in the room. If you haven't done so yet, helps out the channel a ton. Now, Iran's uranium enrichment program has long been a source of international tension. While Tehran maintains that the program is for peaceful purposes, the UN nuclear watchdog argues that enriching uranium to high levels of purity lacks any civilian justification. And again, they are saying there is no reason for Iran to enrich uranium up to 60% unless they're trying to get to 90%, which is to get that weapons-grade enrichment so that way they can have nuclear warheads to use against the U.S. or Israel. So there you have it, you guys. Trump saying that Iran is stupid and that we cannot live in a world where Iran has nuclear capabilities. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. Now, in addition to that, there's also some big news that just came out 27 minutes ago from the time of this recording. EU and the U.S. agree to a trade deal with 15% tariffs for European exports to America. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think is going to be happening to our economy? Tomorrow when the stock market opens, what's going to be happening? We're hearing that there are a lot of trades that are happening. Tariffs are being put in place. And if you missed my video yesterday, you might want to check it out, as we had heard that Trump said we might have tariff rebates, stimulus checks, almost essentially, refund checks, money surplus. He said we have got so much surplus funds coming in from tariffs, we might need to just cut people a tariff rebate check as well. He said a little bit of money to those that have a certain amount of income might be pretty nice. And let me know if you like the sound of that, put yes. If you think no, put no. Let me know your thoughts. Now, he said the main priority is to take care of the national debt, the deficit, but he also said we might cut people a check. Man, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, in addition to that, let's take a look at this right here so that way you can see what's going on with this deal that just unfolded. The United States and the European Union have reached a trade deal framework, ending a months-long standoff between the two of the world's biggest economic partners. After make-or-break negotiations between President Donald Trump and European Commissioner President Ursula von der Leyen in Scotland, the pair agreed a U.S. tariff on all EU goods of 15%. That is half the 30% import tax rate that Trump had threatened to implement starting on Friday. He said that the 27-member bloc would open its markets to U.S. exports with 0% tariffs on certain products. Now, von der Leyen also hailed the deal, saying that it would bring stability for both allies, who together account for almost a third of the global trade. Trump has wielded tariffs against major U.S. trade partners in a bid to reorder the global economy and trim the American trade deficit. As well as the EU, he has struck tariff agreements with the UK, Japan, Indonesia, the Philippines, and Vietnam, although he has not achieved his goal of 90 deals in 90 days. Sunday's agreement has announced after private talks between Trump and von der Leyen at his Turnberry golf course in South Ayrshire. Trump, who is on a 5-day visit to Scotland, said following their brief meeting, "We have reached a deal. It's a good deal for everybody. It's going to bring us closer together," he added. Now, von der Leyen also hailed it as a huge deal after tough negotiations. Trump and the EU would boost its investments in the U.S. by $600 billion, including American military equipment, and spend $750 billion on energy. That investment over the next 3 years in American liquefied natural gas, oil, and nuclear fuels would, von der Leyen said, help reduce European reliance on Russian power sources. Some goods will not attract any tariffs, including aircraft and plane parts, certain chemicals, and some agricultural products. A separate deal on semiconductors may be announced soon as well. But a 50% U.S. tariff Trump has implemented on steel and aluminum globally would stay in place, he said. "I want to thank President Donald Trump personally for his personal commitment and his leadership to achieve this breakthrough," he said. He is a tough negotiator, but he is also a deal maker. Both sides can paint this agreement as something of a victory. For the EU, the tariffs could have been worse. It is not as good as the UK's 10% tariff rate, but it is the same as the 15% rate that Japan negotiated last week. Now, for the U.S., it equates to the expectation of roughly $90 billion of tariff revenue into government coffers. Based on last year's trade figures, plus there's hundreds of billions of dollars of investment now due to come into the United States. Now, one thing is clear. Trump is celebrating after striking the largest trade deal in history. While there is a lot of upside for the U.S. in this deal, it is less clear what the EU gains. It was notable that von der Leyen spoke about rebalancing the trading relationship. Previously, the EU has argued that the relationship is not out of balance as the EU buys far more services from America than it sells to them. It sounded as though von der Leyen was deliberately speaking Trump's language in order to seal this agreement. Now, it came after the U.S. president finished 18 holes at the Turnberry Resort with guests and family, including his son Eric, amid showery conditions. Wow. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, you guys. A lot unfolding here. We are seeing that there is some breaking news coming out of deals being made with the United States and Europe. And we are also hearing that there are security threats and warnings coming out. And Donald Trump is saying No matter what Iran does, we cannot live in a world where Iran has nuclear weapons. Now, we're going to be seeing where we go from here. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think that we're going to be able to come to some sort of an agreement with Iran, that there is going to be peace that is going to be made? Is there going to be a negotiation, some sort of deal made regarding their nuclear enrichment, uranium enrichment, which they're saying they're trying to avoid them getting to nuclear weapons level graded, developed enrichment of uranium? If you think that they're going to be able to come to a deal, put peace in the comments. If you think no, and we might have to strike them again, put war. Trump said that he is willing to do either, and right now we're hearing Iran is not backing down. Iran is saying they have the right to enrichment. They will continue to do so, and they will get uranium from other countries if needed, and we're hearing that that is happening right now. And Trump is saying, as of today, Iran is stupid. And if you agree with that, put yes in the comments. He said, how could you do that after we've bombed you, we've destroyed you, we've beaten you up so badly? You are stupid, Iran. That is what Trump is saying. And if you agree with Donald Trump, put yes in the comments. Now, we're going to be seeing where we go from here, but we're hearing the warnings that this is a significant threat. State Department joins Senate Foreign Relations Chairman in raising the alarm over Tehran's uranium purchases and drone supply. So Iran giving drones to Niger in order for them to get that uranium. And the headline says the State Department and the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee have joined a chorus of analysts this week in warning of significant threats to U.S. national security from the actions of Iran in Africa. And that is, they are receiving tons and tons of enriched uranium, to which they said could equate to 30 nuclear warheads. Now, I will continue to keep you up to date as more comes out on this. We're going to be seeing where we go from here. I'm seeing a lot of people putting yes in the comments, saying that they think Iran is stupid. And I'm also seeing war popping up in the comments, as well as people are saying they think the next steps are going to be war. And maybe that coincides with Donald Trump saying Iran is stupid. They're not going to back down. Now, we will see. And whatever unfolds, I will keep you up to date here on the channel. And like I said, we're going to be keeping an eye out for what's going to be happening with the tariffs. We're probably going to be seeing a lot of news on this tomorrow as the markets open. We're going to see how the economy reacts. We're also going to see if there is going to be tariff rebates, checks to the American people, money with all the tariffs, the funds coming in. We will see. I will keep you up to date. But that is the latest, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll continue to keep you up to date as more unfolds. And as always, all the articles I've referenced, they're going to be linked, cited in the description below with hyperlinks. Put it on the screen, read right from it. Make sure that you can see the dates, the sources, and rest assured that this is the latest and greatest updated information as of today, July 27th, 2025. So thank you so much for joining me. I'll catch you in the next one, and I'll keep you up to date. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.